Hello, I'm Kamla. My guest today is filmmaker Michel Hazanavicius. He has a new film out called Godard Mon Amour. We are going to talk to him about the film and how he got to make a film on a living French filmmaker who was one of the founders of the New Wave movement in France. Here's a clip from the film and then our interview with the Academy Award-winning director Michel Hazanavicius.
Mais Godard est mort.
Le boulevard Saint-Michel est occupé. On va y mettre du temps.
Tu fais quoi?
Un truc de militant. Mets de la colle sur les doigts pour masquer tes empreintes digitales.
Oui.
I'll never forget the moment we kissed.
Tu veux pas venir te baigner?
Ce qui t'intéresse, c'est vivre comme tu as vu faire au cinéma. Je me sens pas obligé pour vivre de faire comme tout le monde. Regarde là, par exemple, l'envie de marcher en arrière.
Memories we've been shared.
C'est impossible de s'engueuler avec toi. Tu changes toujours les règles.
Et alors?
T'es pas l'homme que j'ai épousé.
C'est pas compliqué, faut choisir. C'est soit la politique, soit le cinéma.
La révolution, elle doit d'abord commencer par soi-même.
Magic.
So, bonjour, Michel Hazanavicius.
Bonjour.
Welcome to San Francisco.
Thank you.
Okay, so in 2011, you made the film The Artist, which won 2 Academy Awards. One was for Best Film and one was for Best Director.
Yeah.
How did it feel to win that was your first nomination, and to win an award when there were 4 other people competing with you?
Oh, it's very strange because it's not normal for a non-American and especially for a French director just to go in that competition. The most crazy dream you can do, you go in the foreign language category. And then so we were there with some, the greatest directors in the world. Steven Spielberg or Martin Scorsese. And this year, Clint Eastwood had made a movie, Terrence Malick had made a movie. It was just crazy. And so I think the only way to survive to this is not to believe it and not to take it too seriously. So it was a wonderful story, but it was like a fairy tale. I was into it and outside in the same time. And it's really fun.
So once upon a time, Michel Hazanavicius
went to Hollywood, exactly.
And she's now in this new film that you've made on Jean-Luc Godard, who is one of the founders of the French New Wave cinema. Yeah. That was hugely inspired by American films and filmmakers. Before we talk about Godard Mon Amour, I want to ask you, what was the influence of American films on you?
Well, I think there's 2 cinema in the world. There's American movie and your own home cinema. In France, we started to watch American movie just after the war, and we've been all of us have been very influenced by American cinema. So even if you try to avoid it, you can't. The westerns, the John Ford movies, the film noir, the comedies, all these movies.
What about B movies?
Yeah, B movies as well. We were not. We could see B movies on TVs or on DVDs after. But when I was a kid, we would see western movies or cowboy movies and thriller movies. Really easily in the cinema, in theaters. And so I think it really shaped my conception of cinema, of course. And also I think there's something very American that we don't have maybe in France. The way people here can really feel what is the good and what is the bad, which is very cinematographic. It's not philosophically always true, in my opinion. In Europe and in France, we're more in the gray zone.
More layers.
Exactly. But in terms of cinema, it's very good to have a hero who's the good and a villain who's the bad. So, it really shaped my conception. Yeah.
So that brings to mind something that you have with Jean-Luc Godard. Like Godard, you discovered cinema as a kid. You look very puzzled. like him, you discovered cinema as a kid. And then like him, you were also probably influenced by American films. And then where you differ to some extent is you say you make film history accessible with a touch, with a pop touch. Godard's films are not very accessible. You know, there's sometimes they can be very difficult to understand. Why then did you want to make a film on a living legend?
Well, it was not my intention, actually. I never thought to myself, I'd love to make a movie about Jean-Luc Godard. It's not how things happened, actually. I just, by coincidence, I grabbed a book in a library, and almost by coincidence.
In
really.
France?
In France, and in Belgium, to be precise. And actually, I had a train to take. And I had forgotten my own book, the one I was reading then. And so I went to the library and to the bookshop, and I grabbed a book, not too big, just for the road I had to do. And it was that book. This book was written by Jean-Luc Godard's wife at this period in 68, Anne Wiazemsky. And she was the actress of some of his movies, and especially La Chinoise. And I read the book, and I really, literally fell in love with the characters, with the period, and also with the themes that were in the movie. This artist, a very, very respected artist at this time in 67. I mean, everybody, all the what we call the new Hollywood, they were all huge fans of him and of his. And he suddenly decided to destroy everything around him, and of course, including himself, and including all his work he'd done before. I mean, his first movie was done 8 years before that, and so
which
it was
Breathless.
Yeah, Breathless, and Breathless was a huge smash, a huge hit all over the world. He really revolutionized the cinema, and it was just 8 years before, so he was really a young director. He was 38 or something, and he decided to destroy everything, to try to do something new, which in a way is heroic, but in another way, for the people around him, it's like a huge mess. I mean, he really destroyed his friends, his friendship, his couple, himself, everything. So I thought this crisis was very interesting for me.
So there was an inflection point in French history politically, and there was an inflection point in Godard's life that reflected the external chaos in his internal life.
Yeah, exactly,
extent, right?
exactly. It's like a planet alignment. Yeah,
Yes,
you say that.
Yeah.
And so his temper, his deep temper, and his situation, and also his midlife crisis, and where he was in his couple and in his artistic life, was exactly on the same page that where France was with his democracy and his political life, and the fact that the youth. I think 68 is really the end of the post-war period, and it was all over the world. I mean, here in US it was the same, in Mexico it was the same, in Scandinavia it was the same. A lot of in Greece, and the youth went into the street and say, "This is an old world. We want things to change." And I think the Vietnam War was also had a big part in that.
So it's
movement.
It's bookending an era, because it's the summer of love starts. The Beatlemania had started, Bob Dylan, Godard, all of them had, I guess, internal conflicts.
Exactly. And then, but the official world hadn't changed at this
because
point.
it's still a Cold War period.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, Russia and the US were two.
Exactly.
And France was embroiled in Indochina.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, the General de Gaulle was the chief of the government, and I mean, he was not exactly on the same page than the Beatles and Bob
Right,
Dylan
right,
and
right,
Brigitte
right.
Bardot and
So it's as though the top layer had not changed, but the bottom layer,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah,
the
so
bourgeois
that's
had not changed, but the proletariat had changed.
Yeah, and the youth actually.
Yeah.
It all started with students all over the world. The students were the leaders of that huge movement.
Yeah.
And because of that difference of two layers, I mean, that was a huge conflict, a social conflict.
So you capture that very well in the film, actually.
I tried.
No, you did, because you see you see Godard going to the student movement and meetings, and where he's also booed because he makes some anti-Semitic comments and stuff like that, which you showed in the film. What was interesting in real life, Godard belongs to a very rich family.
Yeah, of course. Switzerland, a Protestant family, Calvinist, and very wealthy. And I mean, he was born in 1930.
And he's still alive.
He's still alive, actually, and his last movie has been selected to the Cannes Festival, and he's, yeah, as you said, he's a living legend.
He's a living legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now his wife, his second wife was Anne Wiazemsky.
Yeah.
She also comes from a very rich family in some sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Her grandfather was a Nobel.
Yeah, he was a writer who won the Nobel Prize, and she was an actress, and she did that job for, I don't know, maybe 15 years or something. She worked with some very famous directors like Pasolini and Godard and some other, and then she turned to literature, and she started to write books, and she had a wonderful, I mean, career as a writer, and she passed away last summer.
She saw the film.
Yeah, she saw the film, and
what was the reaction?
very, very good. She was really moved by the movie, and she absolutely recognized the portrait of Godard.
Which was Stacy Martin portraits her. No, Stacy Martin portraits her, and Louis Garrel.
Yeah, Louis Garrel portrayed Godard.
Godard.
So no, I mean, and it was predictable. I mean, she really recognized Godard, but she didn't really recognize herself, which is fair. I mean, I didn't expect her to be. And even physically, I didn't try to make the actress look like her. So I did another. It was another conception of her character.
Okay. Before we talk about the film itself, I want to talk about the title. There are so many titles for this film.
Yes.
Apparently, The Great Man was the first title you chose for this film.
Yeah, I started to work with that, and I thought it was maybe too sarcastic, too like, haha, I'm gonna mock him, and so I looked for another one, and there's a story in the movie about a submarine called Redoubtable. The French name for the submarine came from the war navy from the 19th century. So they have this very lyric name, Le Redoutable, L'Intrépide. It looks a little bit stupid, but it's
There's a ring to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And Redoubtable seemed appropriate to him because there's a two meaning in Redoubtable. It's someone you fear a little bit, but also it's like bad here. Like it can be also genius. And
Then how did you choose Godard Mon Amour?
I didn't. No, I mean the American distributor chose this title, and I think it's a really good one. It's a really good title.
Now you wrote, directed and produced the film, and you started a film production company for this film. Okay. Now apparently Anne Wiazemsky was not interested in having her memoirs turned into a book, but somehow you convinced
into a film.
her into a film.
Yeah, exactly.
But somehow you convinced her because you said it's going to be funny.
Yeah, exactly.
So there are some funny moments in this. Like one of the moments is the glasses.
Yeah.
But more than anything else, I actually happened to see Dick Cavett interview with Godard 3-4 times after I saw the film. And I was stunned how Louis Garrel, who apparently has never met Godard.
No, never.
He's the spitting image.
Yeah.
How did he do that? I mean, it's like you're seeing Godard himself as a 37, 38-year-old.
Well, it's a long story, I mean, concerning Louis Garrel and Jean-Luc Godard. I never met him, actually, I mean, for real, but he worships him. really. And
so he must have had a hard time that you're making this film where you're taking some punches.
Yeah, I make fun of him,
Yeah.
and I put him in some very ridiculous situation. And
was there tension between the two of you?
yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, there was tension in the prep, not so much on the shooting, but afterwards when we promoted the movie and we had to explain the movie itself, there was some tension because I said, come on, it's a comedy. It's a funny movie. I mean, we have to tell this, and he didn't want us to appear like mocking Godard. So he was much more relevant to Godard. I mean, small tensions, of course, but we didn't agree exactly. And but when we were, but yeah, it's a long story because his father, Louis' father, is a director. And he started in '68. He was 19 or something. And then when he did his first movie, Jean-Luc Godard came to the screening and he said, now I can quit cinema because Garrel is making movies. So Godard is like a huge figure in the Garrel's family. And
for him to be acting this film.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult. I mean,
so why did he agree? Why did he agree?
I think because he liked the script and he was happy to work with me. And
you must have asked him. Because here is Louis Garrel, whose father was Godard's kind of protege.
Yeah.
And Garrel has never met Godard. And he worships him. He has seen all his films and everything. Why did he agree to make this film with you?
I don't know. I guess
is it the Academy Award?
No, I don't think so. Because I didn't come with my award. Yeah. No, it's not. I don't think so. I mean, no. Maybe he I don't know, maybe it was the good time for him to make something a little bit transgressive for himself. And I think he was happy to go in the comedy area, even if he was very nervous about it. I mean, he was always asking me, I don't know nothing about comedy. You have to help me. And I was always tranquilizing him. Saying,
tranquila.
You're good. Don't worry. You're good. It's okay. Don't try to be funny. It's not the point. Just do your part. And no, I mean, we had fun. But it was a big thing during the prep to convince him that he had to take the voice of Godard to really, and also to shave his head. He's very good looking. He's a very, I'm not sure if you can see it on this picture, but he's he's handsome. Yeah. And I remember when we were promoting the movie in Italy, and we went to we did a conference, and so we arrived it was in the theater. We arrived in the theater. We sat, and suddenly I watched the room, and it was like 99% of women looking just right on my side, looking at him. And so he's a very handsome guy. And so to convince him to shave his head, to have this awful hair, and to take this voice was a big deal.
It's almost as though he's mimicking Godard.
Yeah, but he didn't want to mimic him. And I think he was right. I mean, as an actor, when you start to mimic someone, you're trapped in that imitation. And you can't really go in situation like, if you try to imitate too much, you can't make an imitation when you're in the bedroom, or when you're in front of journalists, or when you're in the kitchen, or in your friends, because it's always the same. So we had to find something free.
That he owned.
Yeah, exactly. Free enough to accept the situation, whatever the situation is. So that's what we did.
That raises a very interesting point on freedom. Godard broke all the rules, and as Dick Cavett in that interview says, I think he says that he's a genius, and critics say that his film Breathless broke the grammar of filmmaking. You know, that's what Dick Cavett said. And you mentioned in some interview that Godard actually showed us freedom of filmmaking.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you learn from him, from Godard?
I think the best lesson is this. Actually, the freedom. Yeah, I put him. I mean, first of all, I didn't try to make a movie about Godard and that's
You call it a love story.
Yeah, of course, and a comedy.
But it's actually a very sad thing because you see.
I never said it was a happy love story.
Yeah.
No, it's the ending of a love story. But what I mean is, it is my Godard. It's not the real Godard. I don't know the real Godard.
So you recreated him. You broke him and recreated him.
Yeah, and I took all the freedoms I wanted, and I really freed myself to. I didn't try to make honest portrait of someone I never met. So
you've never met him?
No, never. So I read a lot of things, and there's many interviews. There's tons of interviews, film interviews. So he never met me. I met him. He never met me.
And he's not seen the film?
I don't know. Maybe he did. Who knows? I don't know. But what I want to say is I recreated a figure inspired by the real Jean-Luc Godard. At the end, people who know him said it's exactly a very it's really him, but I don't know that. So I put him in very difficult situations. Sometimes it's very ridiculous. I like the Ernst Lubitsch quote about. He said, "My theory is the worthiest man in the world is ridiculous at least twice a day." And so that's what I did with this. Maybe more than twice, but that's what I did with Godard. I put him in a very difficult situation. But even doing that, I think he's heroic. We were talking about the freedom, and he's heroic because of that. Because he decided to change everything, and he changed it for real. So. Because my point, I didn't try to make him sympathetic, but I wanted the audience kept his empathy for him. So I had to find a way to create that empathy. And in a way, he's a hero.
But you also show the other side, the weaker side of a hero.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Now, the opening title, I was a little puzzled. Wolfgang Amadeus Godard.
Yeah.
And then it struck me after I saw the film that you probably borrowed some of his filmmaking styles because he used to have these titles, right?
Yeah.
And
not that kind of.
Yeah. But the Wolfgang Amadeus Godard, Amadeus Mozart died when he was 35, 36.
Yeah.
And when you showed this film, he has just turned 36 or going to be 37.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you come up with this, Wolfgang Amadeus Godard? How long did you have to think?
No, it just, when you write, you read a lot and you feed yourself with all the element, and at one point you don't even have to work for that kind of stuff. It just comes to you. And you have to work to create a structure and to write a story, but this kind of jokes come easily. And I don't know, I think it's uncaptured a little bit his personality and how people see him. I think a lot of people, as Dickavett said, see him as a genius. But
he also says enfant terrible.
Yeah, he's a lot of things. I mean,
he's a contradiction, just like the Marxist-Leninist philosophy.
Exactly.
It's full of contradiction.
Everything you can say about him, the opposite will be true as well.
Theses, antitheses, and syntheses.
Exactly, with no synthesis. I mean, if you say something to him, you can be sure he will say no. He won't agree. He
likes to be difficult.
He likes to be difficult. He hates to be worshipped. He hates to be admired. He doesn't care about if people love him or hate him. That's not his point. But if you say something, you can be sure he will be against it.
Now, what does Louis Garrel think about the film?
Well, I think he really likes the movie and he enjoys it. He loves to make it. And I think somewhere he's a little bit uncomfortable with it because he will defend it. He liked the movie. It's not the point. But in a way, I think he has this strange feeling that he betrayed some people around him that worship Godard too much, and so they don't agree with the movie, even if they didn't see it, to not dislike, but to disagree with the idea itself. So I think he really liked it, and he's very proud of it. but there's somewhere it's not comfortable. I think, once he told me it's, how did he say that? He had a cultural problem with it, something like that. I say, what are you talking about? Come on, it's a good movie.
So, you like to create conflict, and you did that successfully with Louis Garrel.
Well, no,
just like Godard created conflict in our minds.
That's not true. He created.
Oui, monsieur, it's true.
No, he created his own conflict because I was very fair with him. I mean, I sent him the script, and he knew exactly what we were about to shoot. I mean, and.
But you're the director, so you're looking for a certain emotion. You got it from him.
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, he was really good. I mean, he's a very good actor, and I think he's really...
He's very convincing.
Yeah, and I think he's maybe one of his greatest performances so far. I mean, he actually has been nominated for the César, the French Academy. Yeah, French Oscar is not exactly...
French Academy.
Yeah, okay. But...
that's not kosher.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like Albanese sushi. What is it?
Okay, so he's a good actor.
Yeah, and he's very good in the movie. But I can't avoid his own interior conflicts. This I can't fix. I don't like to create conflicts. Really, it's not my point.
What's next for you?
The next movie will be a French movie with Omar Sy, the actor who was in Untouchable, and he's like a huge star in France, and with Berenice as well, and another Belgian-French actor named François Damiens, very famous in France, and it's a comedy, and it's a mainstream comedy. For all family, and
what, like your 007 spoof?
Well, no, not like this one. It's more in the Pixar movies flavor. The kind of movie you bring your kids, and then you love the movie and you want to go back by yourself. I hope this is why this is what I try to do. But this is the project is here. Yeah.
Well. Matthew, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching. If you missed any of our shows, you can watch them on our YouTube channel. We'll be back again next week with another new conversation. Until then, goodbye.